Hello, Lisa here. Welcome to my channel, or welcome back to my channel. I normally talk about tarot and oracle decks, witchy things, self-worth, and anything sort of adjacent to those topics, but today I want to talk about planners. More specifically, I want to talk about how I've been keeping myself organized and sane in 2022 from a planner perspective, and what I'm doing differently in 2023. Let's get into it. So I want to start off by talking about the Hobonichi Weeks, which has been my go-to planning system for a year and 3/4 or so. So I used this same system in 2021 through most of the year, and I came right back to it in 2022. And this works in every possible way. There's nothing bad about this system, and I'm going to talk you through or walk you through my Hobonichi and sort of how I've been using it. But I definitely found a few ways to sort of make it even more functional for me, and that's how I'm changing things for next year. So I'll be using a different planner next year, but there's reasons. I'll get into all of that. But first, a little tour, kind of my Hobonichi Weeks. So this is in a Moterm black cover. I like the Moterm covers. They're really functional. They have lots of pockets in the front and the back. There's a pen loop and a big pocket in the back, which has come in handy when I need to like stuff some papers in there or whatever. I'm not the type of person that decorates my planner throughout the year, but I do tend to put a lot of time into getting it set up at the beginning of the year. So any decoration you see here was probably all done in like December last year, November, December last year. So in any case, I like to open it up to this front cover page, and here I have a I'm Enough sticker and my 3 Fat Readers stickers. These are created by Danny. She's done a new one up for us for 2023. I just don't have it yet, so that will be in my new planner system when it comes in. What else? Oh, I attached a clear vinyl pocket to the front here, and I kept this sweet little chore checklist, I guess, with some goals for the year on it. And this was actually really great. So I actually checked off 3 different things on my yearly goals list for 2022. So that was pretty great. Excited about that. What else do I keep in here? So I had this card kind of sitting in here for a good part of the year, ever since I got it. So this actually came from Robin Voicey's Glow Oracle, and it's just an axolotl, and it's cute, and it makes me happy. Other things I keep in here, I usually have some kind of washi card, and I did use a good bit of the washi up from 2022. I will probably unwrap these and put new washi on for my 2023 system. And then I also like to keep this little doohickey in here. It is little flags with cute little critters on them. I think I might have gotten this from Daiso, which is like a Japanese $2 store. So I like to keep that handy so that I can flag pages for different reasons. Anyways, let me kind of walk you through how I used this in 2023. So I didn't pre-private any pages, so I might have to like peek and like private some. So this was a thing that I really enjoyed having in my planner in 2022. It's a goofy picture of Peggy and I with a really sweet, fun quote. The quote is, "We're all a little weird, and life is a little weird, and when we find someone whose weirdness is compatible with ours, we join up with them and fall into mutually satisfying weirdness and call it love, true love." This is by Robert Fulghum. True Love must be the name of the book, maybe, that he wrote. I don't know. I found that quote somewhere. I love it. It's great. I had a goal in 2022 to journal every day, and that's what I was going to use this year at a glance page for, tracking like a daily word count for journaling. But as you can see, I kind of fell off of it entirely by like March. Like by mid-March, I was kind of not doing it. And I stopped tracking by the end of April for the rest of the year. So that's how that went. I don't think I'm going to do this again next year. I have a different plan for my year at a glance. This was just a bad idea. Let's just not hover here too long. Basically, I set a bunch of no-buy rules for me for 2022. I've officially learned my lesson. This just serves as some kind of weird temptation for me, or it's too restrictive or something. But whenever I try to do a proper like no-buy, it always ends up with me like still ending up getting stuff, but now I feel bad about it. So like, we're not going to do this again in 2023. No, thank you. And then this is really I am in these sections of this planner so often throughout the year. It's insane. Like I probably am in this spread every single day for my entire year. These are the monthly layouts, and in the Hobonichi Weeks, they're kind of all grouped together, but this is how I plan all my YouTube content. So this is how I know what videos I'm going to do on what days. And I also will use this little sidebar area to track, let me just zoom you in a bit. I'll use this sidebar area to track what decks I'm working with every single week. So depending on whether I'm using the same deck for a period of time, often I rotate my decks. So whatever decks are written next to that week are the decks I worked with that week. And that's really convenient for me to see what I've worked with and to be able to look back on it. This has been a really, really great system for me. Very, very functional. I use it all the time. Now, I don't have the kind of life where I feel like I need a monthly spread to track like vacations and appointments because we don't go anywhere and we don't have enough appointments where that's really a big deal that I need to see it on like a monthly spread like this. So it's very functional. It's not all that cute, but I do have a system where I plan out my content for YouTube. And then I'll usually put, I use almost exclusively friction products, which are heat erase products. So friction highlighters, friction markers, friction fine liners, friction pens, so that everything is erasable in my planner. So I'll usually make a friction highlighter mark on every video I have planned. And then once I filmed it, I erase the friction highlighter. And then once the video is edited and uploaded to YouTube, I will put a check mark so that I know that all of those are done. So that's how I pretty much do my YouTube stuff. So that worked really well for me in 2022. And then let me go to like a blank week, because what's after this is all the weeks, and I don't want to show a ton of stuff because I have a lot of client information and private information that I put on my weeks. But let me find you a blank week because we've got a couple left. Don't I? Okay, well this is fine. There's nothing like too private on here. I've got vacation days planned. So this is what the week's layout looks like. Now, typically this is what I do. I have a bar, like I draw a line in the first third of every day. So these are Monday start all the way through the week. This little section to the left is where I'll chart things like this, like vacations, any appointments, anything that's time dependent. I'll put it on this side and I'll note any times if there's a time. This section here, the way that I do it is each box gets a different category. So my top box here will be, they're all weekly to-dos. So I'll list the tasks I need to complete in a week because it's not day specific most of the time. So this first box will list any client readings I need to do that week. This next box, any videos I need to film. Then any videos I need to edit. Then any Etsy things. So like if Peggy needs my help with product photos or anything like that, I put that here. Then any household tasks that need to be completed. And then I had an other section, which I almost never used. And then at the bottom, if I'm doing any meal planning, which I'm not doing anymore, I would list any meals that I've already gotten all the ingredients for, so I know what I can kind of pick from at dinner time. So that's kind of how I use that. And then this section on the right, I pretty much just use to keep track of any notes. So if I'm planning to do, say, a video where I'm going to be doing a video response to somebody, I might put my list of decks that I'm going to pull, things like that. So just kind of like notes, just random stuff that I might need to write down that week goes there. So that is the meat and potatoes of how I use this planner, but there's a bunch of other stuff I have in here. So one thing I have in here is I have 2-page spreads for my monthly show and tell. This ended up being way too much space. I didn't really need this much space for show and tell, but it was nice to have it all pre-mapped out, and I kind of sort of decorated it like there's a sticker and a color at the top, but I have it broken up into the various categories I like to talk about in my show and tell, and that's been really, really great. So it's been fun to keep track of my show and tell in this way, and it's been really super functional. So that was really good. I definitely want to keep that. And then I also had in here, and I made these spreads in Canva, all of these kind of printed out and taped, like stickered in pages are all ones that I created through Canva. So I wanted to be able to keep track of all the books I read in 2022. It's actually not a lot, and these books still felt kind of small. So next year I'm using an even bigger system, so I have more room to write the title of the book. This was fine, but I would just prefer a little more space. And so that's how I kept track. Plus it looks kind of sparse, you know? And I feel like I read an okay amount, I guess, but it was not very many at all. And then I had this spread, the Tarot and Oracle wish list. I'm not going to recreate this in 2023 because I don't feel like I tend to use this spread very often. Things shift and change. I tend to keep track of this kind of thing on a spreadsheet. And then I had a spread for fiction books that are on my TBR list or to be read list. And then I also had nonfiction books on my TBR or to be read list. And I kind of listed everything that I hadn't read yet, which may be too many things. We'll see. I've kind of tweaked it a little bit for 2023, which I'll show you. And then next up, I had information here for the Unicorn Fam Book Club. So this is where I kept track of the books that we do in book club. We do a book every 2 months. So we have a book we're reading for 2 months, basically is how this is set up. So I kept track. In 2022, we did Sigil Witchery, a Discovery of Witches, The Stars Within You. This was a really fun month where we did astrology. Circe, Psychic Witch by Matt Oren. And we also read the Graveyard book in October. This was like a bonus book. And then we're reading The Night Circus right now. So that's been really fun. And then I have individual pages where I can sort of track thoughts on each individual book as I read it. So then I created a spread to keep track of all the decks that came into my collection in 2022, whether it was a purchase, sent to me for review, for any reason, decks that came in. And this has been really, really handy. I'm definitely going to be doing this again in 2023. Next up, I have some sections where I keep some video ideas, things like that. And then I also have a system where I keep a log of videos that I've recorded. So I will list the video that I was going to do, and then I have a checkbox for if it's filmed, edited, uploaded, if I've done the thumbnail, the Instagram, Facebook post, and if the video itself is scheduled and posted on YouTube. This is a really great way for me to keep track of everything I'm doing in a given month, and also to look for months where I'm making too much content or not enough, or when I'm falling behind, that kind of thing, because I have a certain sort of rhythm I like to keep up. So that's been really helpful. I also created a spread, or this isn't really a spread. This is not fancy, but this is just like a reference chart where I can keep track of Bruno's food. So he's a diabetic, if you don't know. He's our little Chihuahua Rat Terrier mixed puppy. And so I have different foods that I know are okay for him to eat, as well as how many calories they are per gram and how many grams he would get a meal in order to be compatible with the amount of insulin he's getting. And then I have some quick reference guide here for a few snacks that we like to give him. So I have all of that relevant information saved here. I also kept a Happy Mail log in 2022, and I really liked that. I also really liked having my birth chart, like my astrological birth chart, handy. I referred back to this a ton, especially when we were doing astrological study in the Unicorn Fam. So this was a lot of fun to have handy. I really liked that. I had a spread about how I spent money in 2022 that I also gave up on like at the end of April. And then let's see if I can find you a blank one. I'll find December's. I created 2-page spreads to keep a gratitude log. And y'all, okay, so here's December's. I haven't filled this one in yet. So I go to this spread every single day also, and I write just a little entry in each box for each calendar day of the month, just something I'm grateful for. And this probably sounds kind of cheesy, but I really have loved this practice, and I'm definitely continuing it for 2023. It was just a really lovely touch point, and it's acted as a bit of memory keeping too, because I'll often write about something that we did that day or something. And it's just really good to be able to look back on and go, oh yeah, that happened and that happened. And like, you know, I'm really grateful that I did it, and definitely continuing that for 2023. And then the rest of these are all just sort of blank note pages where I've kept track of whatever and, you know, that I wanted. Now, something I did in this note section, I'm not going to show because I have a bunch of personal notes, is where you see this purple tab. I actually watched the astrology podcast, and they do a video at the beginning of every year where they talk about like important transits that are coming up based on your rising sign. So I watched that and I made note of all the important transits and the dates. I also made some predictions for myself about what they might be about. And then what I did was I took those purple stickies and I also put corresponding stickies on whatever day was connected to the notes that I had in that spread. And so that way, when I was going through my regular week of tasks or whatever, if I came across a purple sticky, I knew to check this and read what I had written from that astrology podcast episode about what was coming up for me at that time, like what was going on transit-wise on my chart. And it was a really cool way for me to bring a little bit of digestible astrology into my year in a way that wasn't overwhelming, and I definitely really, really benefited from that. But yeah, so I tend to use these back pages in Hobonichi Weeks as like a mini bullet journal and put collections, random notes, anything I want to kind of keep track of. That sort of goes into this blank section. But to be fair, when you get past my gratitude logs, my show and tell spreads, which took up quite a bit of space, I only used maybe 50 pages or so of this back section. And there's a ton of blank pages that I'm obviously not going to use by the end of the year. So I don't need a ton of space as long as the structural things I need are in place. And that's kind of what led me to my system for 2023, which I'm going to show you in a second. A couple more things to show though before I do. I created this moon chart so that I could keep track of when the full and new moons are. I haven't done that for 2023 because this is all built into the planner. Now, the full moons and new moons are also in the Hobonichi Weeks, but they were based on a time zone in Japan, so it could sometimes throw the day off, so I wanted to have my own chart. The planner system I'm moving to for 2023 is in my time zone, so I don't have to worry about that. And this is the last thing I want to show. So I keep a few cards. It used to just be one, and it's kind of grown. But I keep a few cards in my planner for, I guess, emergency magic. So these are sort of all serving like a quick focal point if I need to send energy or tap into energy for a magical purpose. So essentially what I've done, this was a thank you card that came with a playing card tarot deck, I think called Arcana or Arcana playing cards. Anyway, they had this thank you card that had an image of the star on it. And I started keeping this in my planner so that if somebody asked for any healing or if they needed energy for something, I could pull this out because I can't really light a candle like if I'm at work or something. I could pull this out and sort of set it out and just sort of focus on that card and about where I'm sending the energy. And it just acted as a touch point or as a focal point for a little bit of energy work if or when it was required. And then I ended up getting this card in a Deviant Moon package, and it has this witch on this side and then a lighter or sort of paradoxical version, like negative, not negative as in bad, but like negative as in like a negative photo negative. You know what I mean? It's that style. So there's a light and a dark sort of version. And I started keeping this in my wallet too, in case I needed to do any protection magic or any light work. It was just really neat to have something like that as a focal point as well. And then when I was at Northwest Tarot Symposium, I got this card. This is from Marie Bento's upcoming Magical Child Oracle. And she was letting folks draw a card and then keep that card. And I got the Dance card, which is super sweet. And it's just a reminder to bring a little bit of lightness and joy. So if I need to do a bright type of magical working or send a little energy for a bright purpose, this is really great for that. So I've been keeping these available to me in my planner, and it's been a really convenient thing. And then the last thing, this is my use it all the time situation. This is a friction pen. Friction pens come, they're often refillable, like even the disposable friction pens are refillable, but I just wanted sort of a nice one to keep with my planner. So this one I've been using for over a year now. It's held up pretty well considering I'm not gentle with this pen at all, but essentially you can refill the ink cartridge really, really easily, and I have a ton of these on backup, and I tend to like blue ink. For writing my planner, just because oftentimes the planner lines are black, so I like the ink to stand out. And then at the end here, if you unscrew this little cap, this is like the silliest design, but it does make the pen look nice. You have this little hard plastic rubber type thing that you can use to friction erase any marks that you want to take out. I erase and rewrite stuff all the time in my planner, so this is really convenient. I hate a really messy, like scratched out planner. I used to use fountain pens a lot in my planners, but now I really just use friction pens, and I save my fountain pens for the kind of writing that I know I'm never going to need to erase. So that's how I use that. So this is my 2022 setup. It's been working really, really well. So the other thing that I've used every single day, almost every single day in 2022 is my tarot journal. So my tarot journal is an A6 Cosmo Air Light notebook in a dot grid style paper. I think this is like the ivory paper. This paper is so beautiful for putting fountain pen on. It makes your fountain pen, if your fountain pen has any sheen or any shimmer or any kind of special quality to it whatsoever, any shading, it shows up so well on this paper, and it's just a joy to use. It sounds silly, but for my tarot journal, I like to use my fountain pens because I don't erase on my tarot journal. So I write with a fountain pen. I've been using the same one actually for a while because I tend to use up all the ink in one and then change to a new pen, new ink. Is kind of how I've been doing it lately. Anyways, the Cosmo Air Light book is really great. And what I do with this is I have in my little tarot tote, which is, I showed that in my October show and tell, but it's this, let's see if I can show you here. It's a trolley bag from Lug. So you can kind of see, we're a little zoomed in, let's zoom out. It's this bag. So in here I can have like a tarot journal, I can have any guidebooks or decks I'm working with, and then in the side pocket here I keep my Canon Ivy printer. I talk about this every year. I've been using it since I got it almost daily. I found out about this from Kelly at The Truth in Stories, so full credit goes to her. But this is a photo printer that is so convenient. It prints out this little wallet-sized photo in full color, really quite nice quality print. On sticker paper. So I do my spread or my daily draw, and I take a picture, I print it out, I tape it into, or it's sticker paper, so I stick it into my journal, and then I write about it. It's the perfect system. But as you can see, my journal does bulk up quite a bit because of the stickers. This is a full year worth right there. So I've gone through page, oh, they're not numbered. I always forget they're not numbered. But I can tell by the signatures. Let's see, there's 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, there's 6 signatures, and I'm just past the halfway point. And you can see how this is almost half of the paper, and this is the other half. It bulks up quite a bit, and it also gets kind of heavy. But I do really love this system, so I'm just going to keep carrying on. I typically will just use this all up and then switch to a new one. I do have one on backup, so that's great. And I have a little pencil board that I just keep in here. And then on the elastic for my little tarot journal, I have the sweetest little wooden charm of the Strength character from the Mons Tarot. It's so cute. So that just kind of tucks just like that, and I get to see it when I, pull out my elastic for my tarot journal. So that's my tarot journal. That's been working for me. No changes to that whatsoever. The last thing that I'm not changing, or the next thing that I'm not changing, is this. This is new though. So this is an A5 bullet journal, and this is where I am tracking information related to the creation of my tarot deck. So I have a special fountain pen that I have filled that I use with this. I have it in a special cover. This is my Unicorn's Journey Tarot Planner. So I'm keeping track in this planner of what card we're working on, where we're at in the creation process. So typically when I'm working on my deck with Francesca, the artist that's illustrating it, I will send her a full written description of the card. She sends me back a sketch. I then approve the sketch, or we talk about the sketch, or we tweak it, and then she does the artwork, and then we discuss that, and then we make any revisions. So it's a multi-step process, right? So in that process, I like to keep track of where we're at, which cards like are at which stage. So this has been really helping me with that. There's more going into this, but it's still very early in its creation. But by the end of it, I'd like it to be a really good record of the experience of creating the deck. So that's my plan with this, and it is staying the same. And it's in a, it's actually using a bullet journal by a Leuchtturm bullet journal. Which one? I'm really bad at this. Oh, Leuchtturm 1917. Yeah, Leuchtturm 1917, but it has a special engraving on the front cover that says Unicorns, Tarot, and Self-Worth, which is like literally what the Unicorn's Journey Tarot is all about. So that's pretty amazing. This is staying the same. Now let's talk about my 2023 setup. So 2023, I am changing to a new system. So I was in the Hobonichi Weeks Mega, which I probably could have gotten away with just a regular Hobonichi Weeks, but I was in a Hobonichi Weeks Mega, and I'm moving to the Wonderland 222 A6. So I have this in an A6 gray Moterm cover in their new Plus. So it's a little bit bigger than their old A6 covers, and the pen loop goes out instead of sort of going in, which is nice because it gives you a little more space. You can see between the edges of the pages and like where your pen will be. So that's nice because I can have tabs and things in here without it bumping up. Anyways, let me show you my 2023 setup because I've got it pretty much all decorated and ready to go. Oh, okay, so good. I haven't filled the pockets yet because I'll probably be moving stuff over from my weeks, but I did finally get to carry these. These are so cute. So these are sticky notes that I got in a Sticky Club subscription pack. And they say, note to self, do stuff, the thing I have to do, when it needs to be done, and how many cups of coffee I'm going to need to do the thing, which is so cute. But they're little sticky notes, and I just love how it sticks out the side there, which is probably just such a silly thing, but it makes me happy. And then I put this cute little sticker of a cat here so that when I open this up, it kind of just like, as I open it, it kind of peeks out. I just think that's super cute. So this is new, and I'm really proud of it. So this is a self-care spread that I created, and I printed it out on sticker paper just like I did with some of my spreads from the weeks, and stuck it in here on the very first interior page. And this says self-care is a priority and necessity, not a luxury. And then all the images that I picked to surround this are things that I go to for self-care. So tea and reading and music, nail polish, candle, crochet, a sleeping mask, which is totally my jam, a bubble bath, playing a game, turning your cell phone off, like just like a cell phone that says power off, colored pencils, a journal, a watch that says me time, like it's perfect, right? So I put that on there. And then when you get to this page, this is actually a rose petal finish sticker, which is really nice to just touch. I don't know, is that weird? Anyway, so this is from Mari in the Sky, who is the creator of the Gentle Tarot. And it says, embrace the gift, no fear, receive, you are on the right path. So I thought that was a nice way to start off the year. And then you get some index pages. And then the index pages actually continue. I don't really think I'm even going to use these two index pages, but I left them just in case. Well, this one says key and this one says index. So I covered these up with some washi tape, and I created a spread so that I can make note of any important dates. So birthdays, anniversaries, things like that, and any important information. And then I have these transparent dot stickers. So once I fill this information out, then I'm going to go grab their corresponding days and put these little stickers on them to highlight the days and write in the birthdays or appointments or whatever. So I thought that'd be a good way to use those pages. Then you get a four-year at a glance spread, which I don't ever use these, but maybe, you never know. It's, I guess, convenient to have it in here just in case. And then here is that year at a glance. I used to, back in the, like my first Hobonichi weeks, I used to use the similar spread here to keep track of subscribers. I don't look at that very often anymore, but whenever I happen to look at it, I can just jot the number in here and sort of see how the channel has grown or not throughout the year next year. So that'll be kind of cool to look at. So comparing these two, this is how I used to track my content in 2022 with this monthly spread. This is how I'm going to track my content in 2023. I just may have to abbreviate some of these, some of the video titles and things so that they'll fit in these littler boxes. But then I have these big boxes here where I can keep track of whatever decks I used in that week. So I still have that space, which will be really nice. So I like this quarterly sort of layout for content planning for next year. And I think that's going to be really, really good for me. So that's what I'm doing there. So that goes all the way through the end of the year. I do kind of wish we also got Q1 of 2024 so that I could forward plan in this section, but I can just make a page in the back for that. Anyway, and then next up, this is when we got some habit trackers for November and December, but I covered those up because I'm not using this planner till January 1st. So I put two spreads in here. Over here is a quirky, fun picture of Peggy and I with that same "we're all weird, we're all a little weird" quote. I put the same one here. I just love it. It just makes me happy. It makes me think of us. This image represents that I'm having a hermit year in 2023 numerologically. This is actually the hermit artwork, not finalized, but pretty close probably. This is such a beautiful image, but this is the hermit artwork for the Unicorn's Journey Tarot. So a little early sneak peek for those of you who are watching this video, because I really wanted this in my planner and I really wanted to show you. It's one of my favorite cards. It's so beautiful. So I love this so much. So much to say about it, but I'll save that for the newsletter and Unicorn's Journey Tarot updates, but loving the hermit card there. And then we get our routine trackers starting in January and February. So I just basically covered up the November and December ones. So then we have January and February. I haven't decided how I'm going to use these yet or if I'm going to use them, but I do have a little flag on here so that I can. I'm just going to give some thought to what I might want to track on here. I feel like this could be really useful for cycle tracking. I feel like this could be really useful for movement tracking or for, I don't know what else. We'll see. I'm still deciding if this is going to be a useful section for me, but they do give you these for the entire year. In this clip together section, I do have a budget form, like a budget layout thing that I created for myself, plus Bruno's important information on just a cute spread. So those are cute. In fact, I kind of want to share it. Let's see if I can share it without showing any private budget information. So just bear with me for a moment. So I just covered up the left side because this actually has my budget on the left side, but on the right side of this next set of pages, I put Bruno's food info, but I created a cute little sheet for it and I put a picture of him in there, which is adorable. I love it. So then next up, I created these layouts to write out my fiction to be read and my nonfiction to be read lists. This will look, I think, a lot cleaner and more manageable, and so that I can pluck books from this to read throughout next year. So that'll be good. And then I created 2 pages where there is 15 books on each page. So that's 30 books. I read less than that in 2022, so I feel like that's going to be enough space. Worst case, I can always create more of these and put them in the back. But this will be how I track which books I've actually read in 2023. And then I created this spread. So this was the beginning of the weekly pages for December, and I just kind of covered the top and the dates up with this washi tape and added some of these cute kitten chops stickers. This one says my growing my deck collection, which is adorable. So this is where I'm going to track in columns any decks that come in 2023, and I went ahead and carried that over to another couple of pages because I will need lots of space for that. And then I have a Happy Mail spread. So I had a spread like this. It always sounds like I'm saying Happy Meal. It's Happy Mail, my Happy Mail spread. So when I receive anything in my P.O. box or anything like that, especially unexpected things, I like to keep track of that and make sure to comment to that person, make sure that I responded to them and thank them. It's just really sweet when people do that, and I just want to make sure I stay organized on that point. So this is super cute. Use some adorable stickers to decorate that. And then I did put in my chart again, only it's on a single page. I kind of just took out various elements and put it together so it would all fit. And I switched to the whole house system for 2023. I was using the Placidus system last year, but I find this so much easier to work with and look at. So I switched back to whole house or whole sign house system or whatever. So then the meat and potatoes of this planner. So this is how I'm going to be using it generally. So I've used these little stickies so I can keep track of what I'm going to be putting in what section, and I'm going to sit with this through December and make sure that I'm happy with it, and then I'll start writing it in and getting ready for January. So you get this January overview page that's broken out into 4 little boxes down the side and then 2 big boxes, or like 1 big box depending on how you want to break it out. So right this minute, I'm thinking I'm going to use this as 2 big boxes. The bottom box is where I'm going to put my monthly video log. I think that will be enough space. I think there's enough lines here for me to track all the videos I make in a month. If it turns out that this is too little space, you know what? Actually, I think I'm going to switch this out. I just realized I'm going to put my video log at the top because that way I have a lot of space. And then I'm going to probably take maybe even just the bottom quarter of this chunk of page. So maybe like this spot right here. And that way I can put a quote or maybe talk about what my card of the month is. But I really want this video log to have room to get long. So I may do that. And I may even just take that out and just do video log. That's probably honestly smarter. Maybe I'll just do that. I think I'm just going to do that because I end up using quite a bit of space for my video log. If I think about 2022, let me just pull it up off camera because I want to make sure I can cover any client info. But when I think about my video log for 2022, I did have a couple of months. Yeah, so in July in 2022, that's how many videos I filmed in a given month. It was a lot, but that's because I was filming videos for my intuitive tarot reading course. So it took over a lot more space. And while, yeah, that's an anomaly, I feel like I need room for that to be able to grow. So I think I need to just keep this to video log in this section. And then I wanted to use these 4 boxes for monthly goals. So I wanted to have a goal section around home and marriage, and I put that at the top just to kind of set the intention. And actually, I think I'm going to go and put self-care second. So home and marriage, self-care. You know what? Hold on. I'm going to rearrange this even further. Okay, I just want to have the right energy. So self-care first. That is the whole point. That's why I have it at the beginning of my planner so I can remember to make it a priority. So self-care first, home and marriage, projects, and YouTube. Now I have projects above YouTube. These are equal importance to me, but I have projects above YouTube because YouTube I'm very set. I'm very unlikely to procrastinate when it comes to YouTube, but when it comes to projects, it's a little harder to keep it front and center. So I want to have like sort of milestones or goals for the month ahead. That's what I'm going to use this page for. And I have added a tab that just says goals, but of course this will also contain my video log. And then we get our monthly spreads. So every month you get a spread, month on 2 pages, just like in the weeks. But on the weeks, I was using these spreads for my content planning, whereas in this planner, I'm using... Oh, I'm like, where did it go? I'm using the built-in bookmark for this. Whereas in the Wonderland 222, I'm going to be using this quarterly spread to do all my content planning. So I don't need to use this month on 2 page spread for that. I'm going to use this for my gratitude log. So if you remember in my weeks, I had to, let me just show you again. In my weeks, I had to draw in and make my own spread for gratitude log. So I'm instead using the built-in month to do my gratitude log, and it'll come up every month. So I have it already flagged and decorated. I decorated it for the whole year. I will show you those. So I'm starting off with Pusheen for January and a sticker that says be true to you. So this will be my gratitude log. It's a Monday through Sunday setup. And it does have the moons on here as well, which is cool. So then this is what the week will look like. So it's a week where you get a day going down like this, and then you get your weekends stacked. This works really well for me. I think it's going to be super, super functional. So if you remember, let me pull up my weeks and show you kind of how I had it set up. I wonder if I can find like kind of an empty week to show you, or at least a week that doesn't have any client information. Okay, so yeah, so here's kind of how it looked last year. So I would have clients at the top, videos I want to film for the week, videos I want to edit for the week, any Etsy things that I need to help with for Peggy, any household things, and then any meals or other sort of stuff. And then any appointments go on the left, right? So that's how I did it last year, or this year, 2022. And then I had this notes page is available for whatever I needed. So for the Wonderland 222, here's how I've broken it up. This top section, and I'm still trying to decide, I'm probably going to track things like my cycle, any movement here. I'm trying to still decide if I'm going to track it in the trackers also, or like, I don't know. I haven't decided yet, but I want this top little section for each day to be for that. And then I can just create that section for each weekend. So that'll be easy. And then I've divided, each of these kind of has some lines built in. I don't know if you'll be able to see them, but there's like this little section at the top. Then there's like a box here, which is the day. These are actually time blocks, which I'm going to ignore the time numbers because I don't time things. But there's this block here, and then the second half of the day is a block, and then you have like an empty block at the end. So I've broken this up like this. So this whole bottom section here will be for notes. So that's kind of what I used this blank page for. It's probably not going to be enough space, but I do have some empty pages in the back that I can use if I need more space than this on a given week. And then this top little box for each day is going to be where I write things like appointments, birthdays, any sort of special things I need to know that are day dependent. So I'll put those like that. And then these bottom sections, I'm going to use exactly like I used this section in my weeks. So I'll have my client list for any client readings I need to do, any videos I need to film or edit, anything I need to help Peggy with for Etsy, and anything other basically can go there. So I think this is going to be super functional. So then you get your 4 weeks. You have moon faces at the top. This is also, everything is in English, which is really handy. I think my Hobonichi weeks, my Hobonichi week was all in Japanese, but there was bits of English. So that is how I'm going to use that. And then at the end of every month, so after you get through your final week, you get a review page. And this is perfect for setting up for my show and tell. So now it's like all the things that I was already doing in my weeks is further already set up in the Wonderland. So I will have 4 small boxes for the boxes I don't need a lot of room to write in. So that'll be my magic, makeup, like body and beauty, TV and movies, and books, because I usually don't have a ton of things to list in those sections. And then I have wider sections for memories, YouTube, random, and decks. So I have all that set up, and I just haven't numbered like the number order in which I normally talk about it. But this is kind of how I want to lay it out. And then we're into February. Super great. And then there's my February gratitude log already decorated. And my March already decorated. I had a lot of fun. These are the only things I do to pre-decorate. There is my April with the bunnies. My May with these adorable little hedgehogs. My June, froggies, it's so cute. July with these adorable chubby goofy unicorns. Love them. And then August, which is Peggy and my anniversary month. So I have this like unicorn dragon combo theme sort of happening. Kind of cute. And then I have this sweet self-care sort of theme for September. Fun, spooky stuff for October. Treats for November. Where's December? Where's December? Ah, here we go. And then these sort of witchy coffee theme for December. And then basically that's it. This just takes you through the rest of the year. And then you start off with some blank pages right after December 31st. And the December review, you get notes. So I have a little flag. These are repositionable tabs so that I can move it to whatever my current blank page is for any notes. This should be perfect. It's labeled dailies, but there's not enough here for every day in the year. So like, yeah, I'm just going to use this the way that I used the back section in the Hobonichi weeks, which is anytime I need to keep track of something, or if I need more space that doesn't fit in the like little notes section at the bottom of my week. If I need more room than this to keep track of something, then I'll throw it into a notes page. So that is the Wonderland 222 and how I have it set up for 2023. This should be a super, super functional system. The Moterm covers have 2 built-in bookmarks. So like with my weeks, I'll keep one of them on the content planning page and then one of them on whatever week I'm in, like that. And then I have show and tell, which is the monthly review. I have that with a little tab on it so I can easily get to it. I can also easily get to the tracker if I'm going to use that. Books, decks that have come in, goals for the month, and my gratitude log that I'm currently on. So all of these are repositionable, which is perfect for tab systems for me. And that is it. That is my 2023 like organized planner setup. So that's how I'm going to be doing it. I hope this was fun to walk through. I really enjoy sharing this kind of stuff, but I feel like I'm really like awkward about it. So hopefully this was helpful or fun to watch. I love watching these kinds of videos at the end of the year. I tend to watch a ton of them, so it's really fun to be able to share my system. But it is very functional. Like I said, you can see that I do a minimal of decorating, and I really don't pull the stickers or washi back out again until I'm ready to set up like special pages in the back, or yeah, like if I'm going to set up a collection like bullet journal style in the back, I'll pull out stickers or washi sometimes, but otherwise that's it for decoration. And the rest of it is just writing in it. And that's essentially how I plan. So I hope you enjoyed this. Thank you so much for coming along with me for the show off of this system. I hope this is helpful. If you've been curious about either of these systems, I'm really familiar with the weeks. I've used it a ton. So if you ever have questions about that, let me know. I'm new to Wonderland 222. This system I found out about from Dawn Michelle. If you don't already follow her planner channel, you should, because she takes you along with her plan with me's, and she kind of shows you various things about her journaling or her planners. And her channel, I will try to remember to link down below, is Dawn Michelle Journals. So that's how I found out about the Wonderland 222. And they are actually a small company that is based in, I want to say Washington State. And I forgot to mention, but these books both use Tomoe River paper. So if you really like Tomoe River paper, this one uses white Tomoe River and this one uses cream Tomoe River paper, but I freaking love Tomoe River paper. I love how it feels. I love how it kind of crinkles. I am obsessed. So I'm really excited to have another Tomoe River planner to work with. So very excited. And I do know that if for some reason the Wonderland 222 does not work out for me, I can always go back to a week's because I know how to use it. And it's fine. So that's what I'm reminding myself of. In any case, I'm going to stop babbling. Thank you so much for watching. Extra big thank you goes out to the Unicorn fam for supporting what I do here on the channel. That means so much. And to everybody watching, thank you for your likes and your comments and your shares and your subscribes. Those all make a huge difference. And if you weren't here watching, I wouldn't be here making videos. So thank you so much for spending your time here. As always, may your magic always shine from the inside out. Bye.